IDI has taken part in the diversity sessions of orientation for over 3 years now. And despite COVID-19, we're back at it again. Outside of making sure we help our community be as inclusive as we know we can be, this might be the most important time for us to be doing this work. Obviously, diversity and inclusion is important all the time, but if you stop to think about this moment in time, it makes even more sense and is even more imperative. Don't see it yet? Well, let's give some context. The first reason is national. If you've got cable or are even somewhat active on social media, you know that the US has experienced nationwide protests, primarily in regards to police brutality and demands around making a more equitable society. Not a new topic, but whether due to quarantine allowing attention to finally be sustained on inequities regarding race, ethnicity, gender, and sexuality, or if folks from various backgrounds have just finally decided that enough is enough, dialogues around inequities have been in the forefront of American life recently in a way that they have not been in a long time. Black, brown, queer, and all other marginalized identities have taken this opportunity to once again fight for a better, more equitable world. You've probably seen this in your own life, either as a participant in that fight or someone who is being made aware of these issues for the first time. It is important to recognize that while this may be the first time in your life that these discussions are being brought up, many people have been on this front for decades. Activists have been fighting for years regarding many of the same things that are being called upon now. Similar to protests regarding police brutality we are witnessing today, the Stonewall riots of 1969 were in response to police overreach and excessive force. This event, the spark for the modern-day LGBTQIA movement, which was also spearheaded by Black and Latino queer activists Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera respectively, reflect the fact that it is often Black, brown, and queer folk who are at the forefront of movements of diversity, equity, and inclusion. The second reason, and the one likely most salient to you in this moment in regards to the need for this session on diversity, is that UNCW itself has been in the news over the past few months for none of the reasons we'd like to be. Look, we're keeping it real because there's no benefit to you, us, or the institution itself in hiding or ignoring it. From troublesome statements to questions about how equitable the institution is at its heart, UNCW has had to take a deep, reflective look at itself, at the request of the students it serves. You are also coming to a city that is wrestling with its own history, such as being the site of the only coup d'etat in U.S. history, occurring in order to overthrow a progressive Black and white government, and dealing with its own issues with race when it comes to policing and education, respectively. All of this reflection, by the way, is a good thing. It's good for institutions and the people who work in them to look at the larger policies of those institutions to make sure we are upholding the tenets of equity we strive for all to have. None of this is meant to scare you. None of this is meant to anger you. None of this is meant to call you out personally or lay blame or responsibility at your feet. The point is to acknowledge that we don't live in an equitable world. And we want to. We want to live in a world where this video doesn't have to get made. And we want to encourage you to join us in that work. We believe that you are capable of doing this work, and we hope you see this as a way to ensure that we all have a good foundation as a UNCW community and don't have to endure another long, hot summer.